Welcome. This video is CC-BY-CN. Glad that you're here. This is part 2 of section 4.1, dealing with inverse trigonometric functions. And we're going to start out by dealing with the unit circle. So for this lesson, you'll want to have your handy dandy unit circle ready to go. And I'm going to start here. Sine of 5 pi over 4. Let's go here. Sine is the y value. Here's 5 pi over 4. So that's negative root 2 over 2. So this is inverse cosine of negative root 2 over 2. Now, inverse cosine is negative in quadrant 3. So I need negative root 2 over 2 for quadrant 3. That's going to be 3 pi over 4. This one, and remember, arc sine and inverse sine, they mean the same thing for our purposes. Cosine of 4 pi over 3, so that's cosine is x. So 4 pi over 3 is down here, and the x version of that is negative 1/2. So arc sine of negative 1/2. Now, sine is negative in quadrant 4. So we're down here. Now, we have to be between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. So this is actually a negative pi over 6. So for part C, we have inverse sine of positive 1/2. That means I'm definitely in quadrant 1. And y is positive 1/2 at pi over 6. So this is actually the cosine of pi over 6. And at pi over 6, cosine is the x coordinate. That's root 3 over 2. Inverse sine of a positive value is in quadrant 1 again. And root 2 over 2, I'm here at pi over 4. So this becomes tangent of pi over 4. And the tangent of pi over 4 is root 2 of root 2 y over x, or 1. So these aren't too bad. You'll just need to have your unit circle available with you. So for number 6, it's a little bit more involved. I'm going to use some of the extra space I have up here as well. So for part A, I'll go here, part A. This here is a theta. And I'm actually going to set up a triangle accordingly. Here's my theta. Tangent, if you recall, is the opposite over the adjacent. And from this, I'm going to figure out what the missing hypotenuse is because I need that for sine. So I'll call that h, say. So 1 squared plus negative 5 squared equals h squared. That's 26, which means we're going to get positive root 26. We know it's positive because hypotenuse is always positive. So h equals 20 square root of 26. So the sine of this angle is going to be negative 5 over root 26. And for now, probably better to write it here. So sine of theta is negative 5 over root 26. You can rationalize the denominator. Your teacher may want you to do that. Let's take a look at part B. Once again, this is an angle in here. I'm going to call that theta again. And here's my theta. Arc cosine, hypotenuse is 5 in this case. Here's negative 2. And to get that missing side, we'll call that x. So x squared plus -2 squared equals 5 squared. So we get that x squared is 21. X is going to be, now our cosine is negative in quadrant 2, which means this is going to be a positive root 21. So part B, we want the cotangent of theta is going to be the adjacent, which is root 21, over the opposite, which is -2. That up. Part C. So again, this is an angle. Build a triangle based on that angle. And this is going to be in quadrant 4 here. So this is going to be -5. 8 is the hypotenuse, which means, again, I'll call that x squared plus -5 squared equals 8 squared. And 64 minus 25, 39 squared equals 39. So x is a positive root 39, which means, of course, that secant of theta is the adjacent root 39 over the, I have that upside down. I was doing cosine. So secant theta is going to be the hypotenuse, 8 over root 39. And again, you may have to rationalize that. Part D. We're here, and cosine is the adjacent of the hypotenuse. So this is going to give us x squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. X equals 12 very nicely. So we have that the tangent of our theta, that's all that, is the opposite, which is 12, over the adjacent, which is 5. So you just got to build your triangles, use the Pythagorean theorem. Next up. So this looks more complicated than it is. But the key to this is building the triangle. Again, keeping in mind that all of this is just a big angle. And sine is the opposite of the hypotenuse. And we want to know x. Well, this is going to give us x squared plus w squared equals square root of 4 plus w squared squared. Give you a second to wrap your head around that. Of course, the squared and the square root cancel each other out. we can see and subtract out the w squares. We get x squared equals 4, which means x equals 2. And that's 2. So the tangent of our angle is going to be the opposite, w, over the adjacent, which is 2. I know it looks scary, because certainly compared to the ones with the numbers that we just had. We're going to do the same thing with this one. Again, this is all about the triangle. Keeping in mind, so again, that is our theta. Tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. And I'll call this h for hypotenuse. So u squared plus square root of 9 minus u squared equals h squared. Once again, the radical and the squared cancel each other out. And we want to know the secant, that's the hypotenuse. So the secant of our theta is the hypotenuse, that's h, or 3 in this case, over the adjacent, which is the square root of 9 minus u squared. So those last two are a little dicey, but they're not too bad.